How's it going, everybody? It's me, Waddles. So, Minecon just happened. Minecon this year featured quite a bit of announcements. Honestly, probably the most announcements from a Minecon event ever. But with that being said, that doesn't mean all bases were necessarily covered. In today's video, we're going to go over some of the big things that I really thought would receive a mention at this year's event, and actually ended up being completely unmentioned. Some of the things on today's list I was basically 99% convinced that they would get a mention, but ended up actually being completely ignored at the event. As always, if you enjoy the video, like and subscribe, turn those notifications on, and was there something that you thought would get mentioned and wasn't? If there is, tell me down below. So the first big thing that received no mention whatsoever is, of course, we've got to do it to them, the Minecraft 1.16 cave update. Okay, I'm sorry, I know people are still sensitive about that one, I take it back. The serious first thing on today's list come in the form of tables. There's more than one thing on our first spot. The things that I'm talking about, of course, are none other than the smithing and the fletching table. These two mysterious tables were added in the Minecraft 1.14 update that released in April of this year. Now, at the time, it was stated that these tables would receive a use later on down the line in a future update. This year at Minecon, we received info on the 1.15 update that's already in snapshots, and the 1.16 update, which is going to be known as the Nether update. So in terms of general themes and information, we're 2 updates ahead now, and still no mention of the smithing and fletching tables at all. Now, does that mean that these tables won't get a use in 1.16? Absolutely not. They're there, and I'm sure Mojang still has a use for them. In fact, these tables' uses might tie into another thing that's on today's list, but still, no mention at all. I don't know, I was pretty shocked by that. I really thought that Jeb and Agnes would start their 1.16 update reveal with a little bit of a tie-in, starting with the smithing and fletching table, talking about what they're actually going to do and mean for the game, and then start talking about the update as a whole. But of course, as we all know by now, that did not happen. We have no mention of a smithing table in sight, no mention of a fletching table in sight. Will they get uses eventually? Yes, probably, but for now, we are still in the dark. Logically, I think the next place to go on today's list kind of ties into those tables, at least in my conspiracy theory. Let's not call it that. We'll call it a theory. At Minecon this year, there was no mention whatsoever of the upcoming Combat Update, or Combat Update V2, as I have in my notes. So far, in the months leading up to this point in time right now, we have received 2 Combat Update pre-snapshot snapshots. Basically, these were official, unofficial snapshots released on the Minecraft subreddit by the Mojang team. In these snapshots, the combat is being reworked, with the end goal being to have pretty much the exact same combat system on both major versions of Minecraft. And that is actually a pretty big thing. Combat is a huge aspect of Minecraft, and there's a whole Minecraft community based around combat and combat minigames. But did we learn anything new about that at Minecon? No. Was that even acknowledged at Minecon? No. With such a big thing coming down the line, I would have sworn that that would kind of get at least a 30-second mention that it's a thing, it's being worked on, but no, that was not acknowledged at all. That doesn't mean that it's cancelled or anything, I'm sure it's still being worked on, but I'm kind of shocked as to why Mojang wouldn't even talk about that being a thing, and maybe open things up for more of a broader discussion on the combat system and how things work, and maybe how things should work in Minecraft. All we know right now is that the combat features are being worked on and kind of being developed separately. They'll be implemented into Minecraft, quote, whenever they are ready. Now, this is the exact feature that I kind of thought might end up tying into the smithing and fletching table, so maybe that's why those tables don't have any use whatsoever currently. I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe there's going to be even a small 1.16 combat update, and the Nether update is 1.17, and that's why we didn't get a version mention for that Nether update. But that's kind of a reach, so pretty surprised that this update was not mentioned at all. So spot number 3 on today's list. This is the one that I thought like 99% sure was going to be talked about, and that has to be, unfortunately, Minecraft PS4 Bedrock Edition. Now, in the weeks leading up to Minecon, there have been tons and tons of leaks hinting at Minecraft PlayStation 4 Edition finally joining the Bedrock Edition, uniting the world under one happy umbrella, and things were going to be great and bright. But then Minecon happened, and everything got dark, a giant storm rolled in, an earthquake happened, and Minecraft Bedrock PS4 is not a thing. Sure, so maybe that was a bit dramatic, but that's how I felt inside after learning that that didn't even happen at all. I mean, based off of the leaks, I was so convinced, and if something of that large of a scale were to be happening, it would have made sense to talk about that at only the game's biggest event of the year. Now, does that mean PS4 Bedrock is delayed until next year? Oh gosh, I hope not. I really don't think so, but we don't have any new info. The thing that made me even more convinced about PS4 Bedrock being a thing is what 4J Studios has been doing lately. From the looks of things, it seems that 4J Studios is focusing more on making maps and marketplace content now, instead of producing Minecraft PlayStation 4 Edition updates. Personally, I'm really hoping that PS4 Bedrock Edition ends up happening by the holiday season this year, because I feel bad. The PlayStation 4 Edition is kind of just isolated updates when things come out, and I want to talk about it, but unfortunately it's only a small fraction of the community, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense. So no mention of that at all at Minecon this year, but that definitely doesn't mean it's not on the way. All signs still definitely point towards this happening, so we'll see. I guess it's just a matter of time for the PlayStation 4 Edition. And last but not least for today's video, the last thing is another thing that is two things. Last year at the 2018 Minecon Earth, there was a biome chooser fan vote. In that fan vote, the taiga biome won, and the desert and savanna biomes both lost. This year, there was another biome chooser fan vote. Logically, I sort of assumed or believed that the other two biomes would kind of get implemented before this biome fan vote, instead of creating this big long list of biomes that Mojang kind of needs to catch up on. But no, that didn't happen. No, the desert and savanna features were not mentioned at all this year. That is pretty crazy to me. In fact, on my Minecon recap video, I think questions about the desert and savanna features were probably the most common thing on that video, aside from chestboat memes and nether update questions. No mention in the slightest as to when the desert or savanna features are making it into the game at Minecon. Earlier in the week leading up to Minecon, it was stated by one of the devs on Twitter that they are still coming, they haven't forgotten about them, but we have no ETA at all. Leading up to this year's Biome Chooser fan vote, it would have been the perfect opportunity to reveal a small miniature update with the desert and savanna features being implemented into the game, but now we end up waiting on those new baobab trees, new palm trees, ostriches, termites, meerkats, and that other feature. What was that feature? So rounding off our list today, in the fourth place, we have the desert and savanna biome features. I'm really hoping that these two biome features, as well as the swamp and badlands features, make it into Minecraft before another biome chooser fan vote, because then at that point we have like 6 biomes on deck, and that's just too much. And those were the 4 biggest things that were missing from this year's Minecon. What do you think? Do you know information about these features somehow? If that's the case, slide into my DMs, get my attention somewhere. I'd love to know that information. And if there's another feature that you thought was completely overlooked at Minecon, and by me, definitely share that down in the comments below. If you liked today's video, drop a like and subscribe. If you're looking for some fresh YouTuber merch, well, hey, I think I qualify as a YouTuber, and I also have some shirts that qualify as merch. That merch can be found down below this video. In today's video, I'd like to send a special thank you to my wonderful patron, Boone. Thank you for your support. Thank you all for watching. My name is Waddles, and I will see you next time. Go have a good day. Goodbye, gamers.